Let's start with the plans that are just embarrassing. We will work our way towards the tragic accidents. Number 9 is the fish tank casino hack. This is the most humiliating cyber attack in history. We tend to think of hackers as digital wizards. You imagine them typing furious code in a basement, but sometimes they are just really good plumbers. A major North American casino had uncrackable security. They spent millions on firewalls and encryption protocols. Let's see exactly how secure this building is. I will be placing you inside the server room. You have your laptop and your hacking tools ready. You try to brute force the admin password, but the system laughs at you and locks you out. You try to slip malware through an employee email, but the spam filter catches it and deletes it instantly. That was a terrible decision, and you failed. But let's look around the lobby for a second. There is a beautiful aquarium full of exotic fish. To keep the fish alive, they need a thermometer. This is a smart thermometer connected to the Wi-Fi. It monitors the water temperature and salinity levels. Let's try that again with this tiny device. You connect your laptop to the fish tank thermostat. This device has absolutely zero security protocols installed. It is the digital equivalent of an unlocked window. You are now inside the casino's main network. You move laterally from the tank to the database, and you start siphoning 10 gigabytes of high roller data. The security team sees a massive spike in traffic, but the traffic isn't coming from a computer, it is coming from the lobby fish tank. The aquarium is uploading data to a server in Finland. They pulled the plug, but the damage was done. The casino lost the personal data of its biggest whales, all because they bought a cheap smart thermometer. Honestly, that is just poor network architecture planning. Number 8 is the Great Train Robbery. This is the most famous heist in British history. The year is 1963 in rural England. A gang of 15 men targeted a Royal Mail train. This train was carrying millions of pounds in cash. It was the holy grail of physical bank robberies. Let's see exactly how they pulled this off. I will be placing you on the tracks at night. You tamper with the signals to stop the train. The train stops in the middle of nowhere. You storm the carriage and overpower the staff. You form a human chain to offload the money bags. You just stole 2.6 million pounds. That is over $50 million in today's money. You drive away to a secluded farmhouse hideout. You are now rich beyond your wildest dreams. The police have no idea who you are. You decide to lay low for a few weeks, but you get bored sitting around with the cash, so you decide to play a game of Monopoly. You play with the actual stolen money for fun. That seems like a harmless way to pass time, but then you make a critical error in judgment. You hear the police are closing in on the area. You panic and flee the farmhouse in a hurry. You hire someone to burn the farmhouse down. That person takes the money, but doesn't burn it. The police raid the farm and find the game. The Monopoly board is covered in your fingerprints. They lifted palm prints from the board in pieces, and they matched them to 12 of the 15 robbers. Most of the gang was arrested and imprisoned, all because you didn't put the board game away. Number 7 is the Antwerp diamond heist. This is the heist of the century involving diamonds. The location is the Antwerp Diamond Center in Belgium. This vault was considered the most secure in the world. It was protected by 10 layers of security. It had heat sensors and Doppler radar systems. It had magnetic fields and a seismic sensor. The leader was a man named Leonardo Notarbartolo. He spent years planning this impossible job perfectly. Let's see if you can break into this vault. I will be placing you inside the vault room. You bypass the magnetic door with aluminum tape. You spray hairspray on the heat sensors to blind them. You use a custom shield to block the radar. You act like a ghost moving through the room. You empty $100 million in diamonds, and you escape without tripping a single silent alarm. That was technically a flawless execution of skill. You drive away with bags full of loose diamonds. You pull over on the highway to dump trash, and you throw away your trash bags in the woods. This is where the tiny detail comes into play. Leonardo was eating a salami sandwich earlier that day. He didn't finish it and left it in the bag. A local property owner found the trash bags, and he called the police because he hated litter bugs. The police found the receipt for the surveillance gear, but more importantly, they found the salami sandwich. They ran a DNA test on the half-eaten meat, and it was a perfect match for Leonardo Notarbartolo. He was arrested and served 10 years in prison. He never gave up the location of the diamonds, but he lost his freedom for a sandwich. Number 6 is the Baker Street Robbery. This is the plot of a movie that actually happened. London in 1971 was a wild place. A group of professional thieves rented a leather shop. It was located 2 doors down from Lloyd's Bank. They planned to tunnel underneath a chicken restaurant, then they would drill up into the main vault. Let's see if you can operate heavy machinery underground. I will be placing you in a dark, damp tunnel. You are 40 feet below the streets of London. You use a thermal lance to cut through reinforced concrete. The lance burns at 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. The heat is unbearable, and the air is toxic smoke. You finally breach the floor of the vault. You are staring at hundreds of safety deposit boxes. You start emptying jewelry and cash into canvas bags, but you need to communicate with your lookout. He is stationed on a rooftop across the street. So you decide to use simple consumer walkie-talkies. This seems like a logical way to stay in touch, but radio waves do not care about your privacy. Let's see what happens a few blocks away. A ham radio enthusiast named Robert Rowlands is bored. He is spinning the dial on his radio receiver. He is looking for a signal from a foreign country. Suddenly, he hears you talking about cutting giant locks. He hears you asking for more bags for the money. He thinks it is a prank, but calls the police. The police drive around waiting for the signal to get louder, and they narrow down your location while you are still digging. You get away with the money that night, but they recorded every word you said on tape. They identified your voice and arrested the crew, all because you didn't use a hardline wire. Number 5 is the Lufthansa Heist. This is the crime that inspired the movie Goodfellas. It went down at JFK Airport in 1978. The target was a vault holding untraceable currency. It was $6 million in cash and jewels. That is over $25 million today. The plan was complex and executed perfectly. They had inside information and terrifying masks. Let's see if you can drive the getaway car. I will be placing you in the driver's seat. Your name is Stax Edwards, and you are cool. Your only job is to dispose of the van. You need to drive it to a junkyard in New Jersey. You need to crush it into a metal cube. This destroys all the physical evidence and fingerprints. But you decide that sounds like too much work. Let's try that again with zero effort. Instead of the junkyard, you go to your girlfriend's house. You park the van on the street in front of a hydrant. You go inside and get high and fall asleep. You figure you will move the van in the morning, but police officers write tickets for illegal parking. They find the van with mud all over the tires. They run the plates and realize it was stolen. They dust the steering wheel and find your prints. The mob bosses were furious at your incompetence. They murdered Stax Edwards to keep him quiet. Then the police used the van to find everyone else. The entire crew went down because of a parking ticket. Number 4 is the Dunbar armored heist. This is the largest cash robbery in US history. It happened in Los Angeles in 1997. The mastermind was a safety inspector named Alan Pace. He knew every camera angle and shift change. He recruited 5 of his childhood friends. They planned to ambush the guards on a Friday night. Let's see exactly how this takedown happens. I will be placing you inside the depot cafeteria. You are wearing black uniforms and masks. You subdue the guards one by one with precision. You load $18.9 million into a truck. You drive away without firing a single shot. You smash the recording tapes. To destroy the footage, you burn your uniforms and melt your weapons. You have pulled off the perfect crime. Or so you think, until the FBI arrives. They scour the crime scene for days. They find absolutely nothing except a tiny piece of plastic. It is a broken shard from a vehicle taillight. Let's see if this plastic matters at all. The FBI matches the part number to a U-Haul truck. They analyze the mold mark to find the manufacturing batch. They find that only 5 U-Hauls had that batch. One of them was rented by a man named Alan Pace. He rented it under his own real name. He tried to fix the light with duct tape later, but the missing shard fit the light perfectly like a puzzle. The jury did not need much more evidence than that. He is currently serving 24 years in prison, all because of a piece of plastic the size of a coin. Number 3 is the wet paint Biarritz heist. This story involves the most notorious thieves in the world. They are known as the Pink Panthers gang. They are famous for robbing high-end jewelry stores. They act with military precision and speed. They have stolen over $300 million globally. In 2003, they targeted a store in France. The location was a luxury watch shop in Biarritz. Let's see if you can operate at their level. I will be placing you on the streets of France. You are wearing a suit and looking very sharp. You wait for the perfect moment to strike. You enter the store and smash the glass cases. You grab watches worth over $1 million. You run out the door and vanish into the crowd. The police arrive, but you are already gone. You are a ghost, and they have no leads. That was a masterclass in criminal execution. But let's rewind the clock by about 10 minutes. Before the robbery, you were waiting outside. You sat down on a public bench to relax. You didn't notice the sign that said freshly painted. The bench was covered in wet green paint. You sat right in it and ruined your trousers. You did the robbery with a green stain on your butt. You ran away, but later the police found the bench. They took samples of the paint from the wood, and they found a matching paint smear on a getaway car seat. They linked the car to your known associates. The French police tracked you down through the paint. The judge gave you 15 years in prison. The Pink Panthers were defeated by a park bench. Number 2 is the Transylvania University book heist. This is the heist that inspired the movie American Animals. It took place in Lexington, Kentucky in 2004. 4 college students decided they wanted to be criminals. They targeted the Special Collections Library library at their school. They wanted to steal a first edition Origin of Species. It was written by Charles Darwin and worth millions. They also wanted a collection of Audubon bird drawings. Let's see exactly how this plan falls apart. I will be placing you in the library lobby. You are disguised as an old man with a fake mustache. You have an appointment to view the rare books. You plan to neutralize the librarian quietly. You brought a high-voltage stun gun for this purpose. You approach the librarian named B.J. Gooch. You jam the stun gun into her shoulder and fire, but absolutely nothing happens to her at all. Let's try that again with a different weapon. Actually, you can't, because the stun gun was the whole plan. The tiny detail you missed was her sweater. She was wearing a thick wool cardigan that day. The prongs of the taser could not penetrate the wool. She realized you were attacking her and started screaming. You panic and try to grab the heavy books. They are too heavy, so you drop most of them. You run out the emergency exit into the alley. You drop the Darwin book in the stairwell. You get in the van and speed away with nothing. The police arrested everyone a few months later. You are now serving 7 years in federal prison, all because you didn't account for winter fashion. Number 1 is the Facebook burglar. This is legally the stupidest man in existence. His name is Nicholas Wigg from Minnesota. He decided to burglarize a home in South St. Paul. He waited for the homeowner James Wood to leave. Let's see if you can rob a house successfully. I will be placing you inside the living room. You break a window and climb inside quietly. You start gathering electronics and cash and jewelry. You have a pile of loot ready to go. You have successfully committed a felony burglary. But then you get a little bit bored. You see the victim's computer sitting on the desk. You decide to check your social media profile. You log into your own personal Facebook account. You scroll through your feed for a few minutes. Then you hear a car pulling into the driveway. You panic and run out the back door. You get away with cash and a watch. But you forgot one extremely important detail. You did not log out of Facebook on the computer. The victim came home and saw the messy house. He looked at his computer and saw a stranger's face. He saw your full name and your date of birth. He saw your photos and your list of friends. He posted a status update on your wall. He said you left a few things at his house. You actually texted him back to agree to meet up. You met him thinking he would give your stuff back. Instead, the police were waiting to arrest you. You face 10 years in prison for being an idiot. That is why it deserves the number 1 spot. Honestly, we are exhausted by these idiots. They make crime look harder than it actually is. We are going home to check our window locks.